Well, today has been a strange day. It's been difficult. Everything today has been difficult. I don't know why. So this is Mendocino Headlands State Park, and this is a great little park that is within walking distance of the little town of Mendocino. Great little place to pop over to if you are in Mendocino or in the area. Well, with it being overcast and a little bit chilly, I kind of want to make something special right now. I should probably make some breakfast too, but I have something special I'd like to make, and that is a latte. I used to treat myself to a latte quite frequently back when I had a regular 9-to-5 job and was making more money than I can spend, which is a good thing, obviously. But I have stopped going out to buy lattes for the last couple of years just because it's a lot of money. Especially too, I was doing the oat milk thing, and places will charge you another $1. I've even been charged $2 extra to swap out regular milk for oat milk. And now I'm kind of off of the oat milk, so I guess that would save a tiny bit of money, but still that's $3-4 for a latte. And I actually have a little portable latte maker, so I think I'm going to crack that out today and turn this into a special morning and make myself a latte. This is the little portable espresso maker, and this company sent me this months ago, and I did a little review on it, and I was really impressed with it. The one little issue I had with it is that you have to put a very specific grind of coffee in it to get it to work properly, and at the time I had a pretty basic hand grinder that just didn't do a very consistent grind, and so I had trouble grinding coffee to use this. But now I have, what did I do with it? Here it is. Now I have a new grinder. It's actually made by the same company. Espresso is the company. And this grinder grinds perfectly no matter what grind size you want. So now that I have this, I find that this little portable thing is a little easier to use. Except I've just not been using this. I've kind of stuffed it away and forgotten about it. But like I said, I'm going to get this out and use it today. Hopefully I remember how to use it. It's been a little while. So this thing's actually pretty easy to use. First things first though, I should probably get my kettle on. And, oh, let's see, since I'm making a latte, I guess I've got to get 2 kettles on. I think I'll use my electric kettle for the water, and then I will, I'll get my pan on with the milk, heating the milk up. Probably be the easiest way. This basically gives me a second burner in a way, so I might as well use it, right? Well, if you saw my earlier review on this little electric tea kettle, you know I didn't give it a real glowing review, and as time goes on, I think I may have been not harsh enough on this. I found it worked well, but it seems like it's not very accurate. Anyway, it still works. I still use it from time to time. Probably not the best day to use it today because it's a little overcast out. Anyway, and I still use it on the floor. I know people were getting after me when I said I use it on the floor, but the thing is, I'm usually always parked off level, and I'm usually always parked where the van is kind of tilted in this direction, just because I almost always park on the street, and all streets have a crown to them. And I do that on purpose. You know, just because one, it's a legal thing to do, and two, if I'm going to be off center some way, I'd like the van to be tilted this way because I'm rolling into my bed and into the wall. When I'm parked the other way, I feel like I'm rolling out of bed. And the reason I bring that up is that if I use this on the counter where I normally am parked on this kind of angle, that means this thing is tipped on that angle, tipped toward me. And I don't like having this thing tipping toward me. So I use this on the floor because if it does want to slide, it's obviously going to slide and throw its hot water onto me in my bed, and to me that's just not a good, safe thing to do. But it does seem fairly safe to use it on the floor, so that's what I'm going to do, because that's what I always do with this. Okay, now I just bought a little bit of milk. The funny thing about this is I was buying Oatly oat milk, and then I've now switched back to using half and half. I could have done this quite easily, when I was buying the Oatly oat milk, but since I didn't have any, I just went and bought a little thing of just regular milk. And not quite sure how much I'm going to need here. It's probably good, about half of that container. And let's see, I'll get this on, and then I've got to grind some coffee. So, like I said, I have this really great grinder now that will grind to just any consistency that I need, which is perfect for this little thing. And I have some coffee that I didn't finish because it says it's light roast coffee, but it's not. It's medium roast coffee. So since I am working on a bag of light roast coffee, figure I'll go back to this medium roast, even though it says it's light roast. It's not light roast, because I think this will make a better espresso. And you know, with espresso is really more of a way of making coffee, a term of making coffee. So you can use whatever bean you want in espresso, but I think while I normally like to drink a light roast for pour over coffee, regular coffee, I think I kind of prefer just a little bit of a more darker roast when I'm doing espresso, just because you're mixing it with milk, and so it makes it really too milky if it's doesn't have a little bit of extra punch to it. So I think there is definitely room for medium and dark roast coffee, especially when you're doing a latte type drink. It's just my preference usually is for light roast, but now that I have some medium, this is the perfect time to use it out. Now I'll see if I remember how to do this exactly. Oh yeah, easy. My milk is almost ready, but my tea kettle, or my electric kettle, is not quite there yet. Boy, I'm making a mess. I'm going to prep up a little more coffee here because I think I'm going to do 2 shots of espresso. And you can only do one at a time, obviously, but it's really easy to just knock this out after you've gotten one done and then load it back up and do another one. It is a little hot, but that seemed to be the way I like to do it. So I'll get this started, and as soon as my water is ready, I can pull the first shot and then clean it out, get the second shot going. I think what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to dump the hot water from my kettle into my pouring kettle here, my regular kettle here. I'm going to do this over the sink. It's really hard to pour with this thing. It just doesn't have a pour spout, and so it's not accurate. So that'll make this easier to use. Okay, they do provide a little fill line, so I know how far to fill it up to. There we go. And okay, there's our first shot. Just going to put that into my mug here. And then I'm just going to take this apart quickly and load up the second shot. I don't really know what I'm doing here. I'm not a professional barista or anything. I've never worked in a real coffee shop, so I'm just doing this the way I think it should be done. Okay, now on to our second shot here. This little piston builds up pressure inside the chamber and then forces that through the little basket of coffee down below. So it works pretty much the same as a big machine, but obviously there's nothing automated here, so it's a little messy. I don't know if you can tell, it's a little messy. Probably a little less messy if I wasn't taking it apart and doing a second shot, but I just, like I said, I prefer having a little stronger of a latte. Yeah, the other thing I should say is I'm calling this a latte, but this is probably more like a flat white because I don't like the froth that they put on top of a latte. So you could buy a little attachment and froth up your milk, I realize, but I just don't like that froth. And so I used to, back in the day, I used to order a latte with no foam on top. But I don't like to do that just because it's a little extra work if they're really busy. So that's the kind of cool thing about making it yourself. You can just make it the way you want to make it. Let's see how I did. That is just as good as any Starbucks latte I've ever had. I'm not saying that just to try to pull favor with somebody, and I'm not saying that to knock Starbucks. I'm just saying that that's good. That's a decent latte, and I made it myself in my van, stuff that I had. This is pretty cool. Now, of course, the one little issue is I've got a bunch of stuff to clean up. So that's the one thing that the barista does for you that you now have to do yourself when you're making your own latte, but this is definitely worth it. Okay, cleanup was pretty quick and easy, but I do realize I need to leave these parts out while they dry before I put them back in their case. And I also realize that my sink is a little bit filthy, and that probably needs some attention too. Okay, I'm going to put a little toast on here for breakfast, and while that is toasting, I'm going to attempt to clean my sink a little bit here. And what I use to clean my sink is WD-40. I've mentioned this before, and people get really upset when I talk about it. How terrible WD-40 is, and that I can't believe I'm, using WD-40 in my sink. The thing is, I'm using a tiny little bit of it. WD-40 has kerosene in it, and so the kerosene cleans off the kind of built-up soap scum, and then it does leave a little bit of oil behind, which helps keep the sink clean longer. So that's why I use it. And the other thing is, I don't use this sink as a normal sink. Normally you would fill your sink up full of hot water and put soap in it and wash your dishes in it. But I don't have that kind of ability because I just don't have that much water on hand. So that my sink is really just a catch basin. It's a catch basin so that when I pour water in it or dump out something, it just goes down the drain. That's what I use the sink for. When I wash dishes, I wash them in a very particular way. Actually, lately I've been using a little spray bottle with vinegar, but I don't actually use the sink as a normal sink would be, and so it doesn't bother me to use a little bit of WD-40 to clean the sink out, because my dishes aren't actually touching the sink itself, if that makes sense. So yeah, I always think it's funny when people get after me, you know, oh, I can't believe you're filling your sink up full of water and washing your dishes in there after you've used WD-40. Well, I'm not, and that's why I don't mind using WD-40. But I'll tell you something, WD-40 for stainless steel is just the best thing. It's so easy. And yes, they have stainless steel cleaners, and yes, I'm sure people are going to get after me about I should be using something different. You can, if you really want me to use a different type of cleaner, write it down in an email and email it to yourself and read it yourself. I don't really care. I'm going to use WD-40 because this is like $1.25 at Home Depot, and I bought it 3 years ago now, 4 years ago now. Yeah, I'm going to use this. Yeah, see, there we go. Nice, clean sink. This was just a 2-minute cleanup job. I didn't spend too much time. Obviously, it would look a lot better if I spent a few minutes and maybe a little scrubby brush or something on it. But yeah, this is great for me. And WD-40, definitely a good thing with stainless steel. So I think I'm going to make a couple of eggs for breakfast. Although it's getting kind of late in the day. This is almost lunchtime, I think. We'll call it breakfast. So a couple of eggs for breakfast, and then I think I'd like to make a little, just go for a little hike, I think. There's a place that I was at a few days ago that I really liked, and might be a good time to go back today. It's a little cooler and overcast more than I expected. They said it was going to be a cool day today, but I wasn't expecting it to be quite as cool as it is. I think it's only 60 degrees out right now. I put my light jacket on and kind of wished I put my down jacket on. We may have to make some adjustments. I forgot that I had some leftover par-cooked potato in the fridge, so I just threw those on to go with the eggs. I guess I didn't need the toast, but the toast is an extra butter delivery device, so that's an okay little mistake I made there. I spent so long avoiding eggs. Now that eggs are back in my regular diet, I'm happy about it. They're just so easy to cook, and I think even with as expensive as they are lately, they're still the cheapest protein, I think. Anyway, I wanted to take a little hike today, and I'd like to get out of town here, especially because it's been really noisy here today. There's my paper towels flying around. It's been really noisy here today. I've actually moved twice. This is the third parking spot I've had this morning. I keep moving. I'll move away from everybody, and then as soon as I move, somebody will pull up right next to me and blast their stereo. So like, you know, there will be a big open parking lot, but they want to pull right up next to me, blast their stereo. So I think it's the sign to get out to a kind of unused trail close by and do that instead of stay around here. Okay, I'm ready to go, mostly because I don't want to listen to the talk show that's being broadcast next to me. I do have to say, this latte is very good. I'm nursing it because I'm enjoying it so much. Not enjoying the the sounds going on, but at least my latte is fantastic. Let's get out of here. So this is Jug Handle State Preserve, and I was up here a few days ago, and this little spot I really thought was cool. It feels kind of like a hobbit cave to me, but I did a little video on it if you saw that, I don't know, but when I was here a few days ago, I was really more interested in getting down to the beach, and there is a nice, very small beach area down there. Now you can probably hear a little bit of traffic. We are right along Route 1, so it's not the quietest of places to hang out in the area, but it is a very pretty view and a very pretty beach down there. So that is what I enjoyed when I was here the other day. But this has a big trail that goes back up into the woods, and apparently the woods here are a little different than everywhere else in the area. There's a Pygmy Forest, they call it, and I'm not really sure exactly what that means. I'd look it up right now, but there's no cell service here for Verizon signal, at least not with my phone. I have nothing in this little town. This is just outside of the town of Caspar. It's a really cool spot. Beach is nice, but very popular. We'll see about the trail. I just didn't come back in this direction the other day. This is kind of cool. The trail actually goes directly under Route 1. This is Route 1 right over my head. I don't know why it's cool. I just think it's cool. This is so cool. I'm not really sure which way I'm supposed to be going. I should have looked at a trail map, but this is just awesome. You know, usually I say the ocean is the place to go, always. But in this case, being that there's a bit of road noise, being that the ocean part is so close to Route 1, this area is probably the better one to go to, because as you hike back a little bit here, you get away from Route 1, and like now, I can't even hear road noise anymore. So this is probably the better spot. Even though I'm usually drawn to the ocean, this is the place to head to if you come out here. This is very cool. This is definitely very different from anything else I've seen or hiked in around Mendocino County. It's a very unusual feeling here. It's almost jungle-like in spots. Well, I was just starting to think that there's not a whole lot of markings on the trail here, and then I see the sign saying that they are working on it eventually. And this is odd because I thought I took the staircase trail, which is back in that direction. I wonder if there's two stairs or if it just loops back up. I don't really know. This is a very cool place to hike, though, I have to say. Well, if memory serves, this trail is only about 2.5 miles out and 2.5 miles back. I'm pretty sure I haven't done 2.5 miles out yet, but I think I'm going to turn around and head back slowly. There are a bunch of little other offshoot trails to take, so I might do a couple of those, but I need to keep in mind that there's stairs back at the end of the trail that go up, and I'm not in the best of shape, so I think I'll just cut it short here so I don't wind up huffing and puffing back up the stairs. Don't you love stairs? I just love them. Love them. Let's go take a peek down at the beach since we're right here. These little known kind of tucked away parks that don't get a whole lot of use are my favorites, and I would say the trail here is probably the better side of the park to be on. You see, this beach is so small and narrow that if it is slightly busy, it does feel crowded. So it's a little less busy than I was expecting here, because it was quite a bit busier when I was here the other day. But this is definitely a place you would probably like, and probably a good place to come if you've got a group of people. If somebody wants to be lazy and just sit on the beach, they can do that while other people go and hike up the trails. Great place here. Yeah, and then the only thing I need to remember is that this is Jug Handle State Reserve and not Jughead. I keep calling it Jughead State Reserve. That's not right. Jug Handle. Well, it took a while, but it actually warmed up quite nicely. My sweater is so yucky, full of sweat, having a hard time getting it off. Okay, don't need that for probably the rest of the day, or at least a little while, but I do need water. I really should start taking water with me when I walk. I had something funny happen the other night. I got in the van at the end of the day, turned my key, and on my dash popped up a little warning light. And I thought, what is that? And of course my mind races to, is it, am I low on some kind of fluid? So I'm thinking, check oil, check, coolant and power steering fluid and all that. And those are all fine. I think, maybe it's a gas cap, maybe I've got a bad gas cap, or maybe I didn't put it on tight enough or something, maybe it's loose. So I checked that, and I can't find anything, so I have a scan tool. I pulled the scan tool out, plugged that in. I'm going through everything. There's no codes showing up for anything. Finally, I think, I'll just have to figure it out tomorrow. It's getting late, I need to go find a place to park. I'll just have to worry about it tomorrow. So I turn the key again, and this time I notice there's not only the little warning light, but the computer actually tells me what the problem was. It actually said I have a license plate bulb is out. These little vans have computers that control and monitor everything. So I didn't realize it was going to tell me what was wrong. I wasn't reading the little thing that was showing up, and it just shows up for a few seconds and then it goes away. So that's why I wasn't noticing it. But I went back to my rear license plate frame, and yeah, one of the lights was blown, quite clearly blown. It was the first one I went to go look at. You know, I just figured go to the back. There it is. It's there it is. There's the blown bulb. So I need to replace a bulb, and I've really gotten to the point where I do not like auto parts stores. Seems like they're highly abrasive in there for some reason, most of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time. And they're constantly out of stuff. And the last time I went to go get a tool from an O'Reilly's, they sold me the wrong parts, and then they didn't know why it was the wrong part. So I don't want to go to an auto parts store. I think I'm just going to go back into town. There's an Ace Hardware, and I hope they have bulbs, because it's an old-time Ace Hardware where they have everything in there. It's just packed. You know, you walk in, the aisles are this wide, and there's just stuff packed right up to the ceiling. So I think it's a good bet that they will have a bulb for me. At least I want to try there, and then if they don't have what I need, I'll have to go to an auto parts store at some point. Well, no dice. I thought they were going to have it, and they had several bulbs that were close, but they just didn't have quite the right one. So, oh well. At least they were very friendly. So I'll always try any place other than an auto parts store first. But I guess now I need to go to an auto parts store. I'm not sure if that's a ticketable offense or not. If it's something I need to worry about getting done sooner or later. I do have two bulbs in that rear license plate frame, and one of them is still good. So I think I'm not going to worry about it, because there is no close auto parts store nearby. I'd have to go to Fort Bragg, I think, for the closest one, and that's 9 or 10 miles away. So I'm not going to worry about it right now. I think I will think about going someplace so I can sit for a while and not move around, because I'm tired. Well, I figured since I was at the ocean this morning, I would come down here to the river this afternoon. It's a little busy down here. Busy and noisy. I guess that's just the season that we're in, isn't it? Summertime, people are traveling. You know, they're not from here like I am. You know, I'm a local, Mendocino local. I live here, right? Is my nose growing? Anyway, this is a really good spot, I think. It's usually pretty chill down here, and there's hiking to do, there's swimming if it's a little warmer. I'm not getting in there in this kind of weather, but and there's pit toilets too, so it's kind of got a little bit of everything here. It's a good spot to hang out. Well, even though it's kind of early, I was going to get dinner started. I pulled a couple of beef patties out of my freezer to let them thaw this morning, but they're still frozen. So I guess I will have to take a walk or make coffee. Let's do both. I really like having a latte, and it's like really it's a really like special thing. When I was in Truckee, a friend of mine took me out for a latte, bought me a latte, and it was just so good. I hadn't had one in so long, and I was just thinking, like, this is just so good. That was the thing that got me thinking, like, why don't I just start using my little espresso maker and making myself a latte once in a while? because I really miss them, you know, and I don't want to get back in the habit of going back and getting a latte once a week or something. You know, it's just too much money to be spending, especially when I can make one myself. But where was I going with that? I was thinking that, well, a latte is a really special thing for me, and I just really enjoy them. My favorite thing is just coffee. You know, just a straight up just coffee. So when I don't have a coffee and I have a latte instead, I kind of miss the coffee, and I feel like I need to have a coffee. So I mean, technically I've had enough coffee today because I had a double shot latte, but I think I'm still just going to make a little quick cup of coffee here, and then I can take a little walk. I am really out of shape, but I think if there's stairs involved or elevation involved, then I feel really tired very quickly. But I think like right now I'm ready to walk again. And around here it's all pretty flat trails. I could walk back out to my little cave that I've been threatening about moving into, which is out at the ocean. But anyway, lots of places to walk around here. Lots of things to do here. This is really a good area, this big river area. Well, I need to be honest here. I did not go out walking around or hiking around anymore. I've just been sitting here enjoying the peaceful tranquilness of this area. This spot down here by this river is just so peaceful, and I come down here quite often. I just enjoy it, and I don't necessarily want to get out and walk around. I just enjoy being here and enjoy just the vibe that's going on here. Anyway, I better get some dinner started. I am going to make my kind of regular thing that I eat usually several times a week, which is some chili. So I took out a couple of hamburger patties. I'm going to use those, as well as some frozen vegetables. I took those out to thaw a little bit too. I figured why not? Since I'm going to be cooking them, I just let them thaw out while I'm waiting for everything else to thaw. So this is pretty simple, and it's not a regular type chili. This is just kind of a throw stuff in the pot, and it is chili in name only, I guess. And I have been using this habanero sauce as a base. A lot of times I put too much of this in, and it's too much. One time I had to actually throw some potato in because it was so strong, just so spicy, that it was just too much. Okay, dinner's ready. The chili turned out really good. I didn't put too much hot sauce in it like I usually do, so it's not painful to eat today. It's still boiling hot, but at the moment, but not painful to eat. It's just tasty. So chili came out good, and then I made some garlic bread, and I just used some garlic powder and some Parmesan, and for some reason, I didn't think to record that while I was doing it. Basically, I just toast one side of the bread off in the pan, and then I put a little bit of butter in the pan and put down some of the Parmesan, just sprinkle the Parmesan right down in the pan on top of the melted butter, and then just place the piece of bread down on top of it, and then you get this nice little crispy crust on top. Oh, and I put some garlic powder on top of the Parmesan. So it kind of got baked into the cheese as it got nice and crispy. So easy, but just, you got to be quick doing it or otherwise things will burn. Look at this view. This is just the most incredible place to sit and eat dinner. Or it's the most incredible place just to sit, period. I mean, this is just incredible out here. Well, today has been a strange day. It's been difficult. Everything today has been difficult. I don't know why. It's not been a bad day. I'm not saying it was a bad day by any stretch of the imagination, but just everything was difficult today, from getting up out of bed to trying to remember how to use my little espresso maker to just everything. Just odd. I guess that's just the way things are. But I'd still call this a pretty good day, because any day in Mendocino County is a much better day than any place else I've ever been. That's all I have to say about that. Anyway, I'm gonna pack up here and go find a place to park up for the night. Thanks for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it.